Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the forest of knowledge. As he began his search, for reasons he didn't fully understand, Junpei felt those particular words float through his mind. In this episode of Time Plays Zero Escape, 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. In the last episode, we had an epiphany, and in this episode, we must seek a way out of this library. This library behind door 9. Seriously, go watch the other episodes if you haven't, otherwise nothing's gonna make sense. There's a note on the table. Lights to the books. Huh? What does that mean? Interesting. No, that's not right. Interesting. Well, intelligence often hides itself in darkness. Have you ever thought about the pages of a book? Each page only sees what? Maybe 2-3 minutes of light before the reader is on to the next? They spend the rest of their lives locked in darkness. Rather like myself. That's horrible. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. Not at all. I live in the darkness, yes, but that has gifted me with the ability to catch the truths others might miss. I can hear the voices hidden in the darkness, you might say. What did this thing say? There's a note on top of the table. It says lights to the books. We're not burning the library. That's rude. A kid's book here, huh? Looks like it's a children's story about Native Americans. Don't you think a random book like that is kinda suspicious? Maybe you ought to hold on to it. This one has some Native Americans on the cover. Cowboys and Indians. Junpei, take a look at this one. Native Americans, huh? Maybe it's got some... Whoa! What's that? It's one of them pop-up books? Oh, what's that? This one of them pop-up books? L-R-K? That doesn't mean anything, does it? Well, you could make the M-K-R-L. There's no R here. Like curl or Carl. Lilk. That doesn't help. What's Hellenism? I think it's some kind of fusion of Greek and Oriental culture. History of the medieval period. Maybe it's about Sir Lancelot? Isn't he just a story? I don't think you're gonna find a guy who doesn't really exist in a history book. Look, this one says Cultural Heritage of Rome. I bet that's got serious inheritance tax. A history of Buddhism? Permian cultures? Seems a little fancy for some kind of prehistoric critter. Not to mention most of them are likely reptiles and amphibians. Without hair, I can't imagine they had much need for purpose. It's got nothing to do with this. Oriental history, China. Hey, Chinese history and Oriental history aren't the same thing. History of the Western world. Well, I'd assume it's about European history. Yeah. Just gonna leave it at that, Snake. Doesn't seem like you. Hey, look at this book. This book's called Greek Mythology. That thing's huge. Can't imagine anyone's actually read the whole thing. Pretty sure it just put me to sleep. Can I look at... Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have a headache doing this. Our property values going out in space, going up out in space these days. Man, guess times are tough for aliens too. This one says cosmic inflation. All that's here is Faraday's laws of electrolysis. I believe that's going to be about electrolysis in an electrolyte solution. These particular laws were set down by Michael Faraday. I know what electrolysis is. Quantum gravity. 7. Do you know anything of what that is? How about you start using real words? Then maybe we'll get somewhere. I need to stop looking at everything. I'm gonna be here forever. I already checked there. The theory of evolution. Heck, even I know this one. That's that Darwin guy, right? Well, yes and no. Charles Darwin wrote a book called On the Origin of the Species. In it, he put forth his theory of evolution. Yeah, I remember that part. He called it natural selection. Exactly. Mother Nature. Is that some kind of book about hippie chicks? Probably not. Except perhaps tangentially. It's most likely about environmental protection. It's just trying to make a joke. Dude, hippie chicks? Really? We're not checking stuff unless something catches my eye like that. This one, it looks like that picture book from earlier, the one with the pop-ups. You think they're part of a series or something? They do have the same binding. Fundamentals of baseball? There's a baseball on this one. Come on, Junpei. Let's see what's in it. Going out on a limb here and saying it's probably baseball stuff. Whoa, head. Oh. Wait, it keeps its orientation? Why does it keep its orientation? Either way. RLRK, that's why he was going on about R's. Well, I'm gonna have a terrible time with this, I can tell already. I looked here already? Who knows? If it doesn't catch my eye, it's not important. Oh, good. Dad, kind. Libernese, Owen, and Sheldrake. Dad, kind. What is this? Wasn't that a German mathematician? Maybe it's a compilation of his work. Libernese? This book is in German. It looks like it's the complete work of something. I've never heard of it for once. Well, if Snake doesn't know what it is, I don't think we'll ever know. Owen, huh? Owen isn't enough to go on. Perhaps it's about the English Revolutionary? Sheldrake? Sheldrake. Isn't Sheldrake a musician? Cosmo Sheldrake? Oh boy. Glad this is all useless. That's a weird book, Junpei. Indian mathematics. Haha, that's funny. What? Why is that funny? Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Sounds like there are numbers of math books in this section. Japanese literature. I see that. Hey, there's another one of those picture books, dude. Something about these feels kinda nice, you know? Brings back good memories. I guess even people like Seven were kids once. No duh, you little brat. Hey guys, cool. Alright, I think I'm gonna take this picture book with me. It's got a magic wand on it. That's not a magic... Oh, if you say so, fine. So, what's inside? Well, aren't you going to open it? Pretty sure it's gonna have pages inside. Oh, goody, that's a 5. Say 5. That's where I just looked. Let's tell you what we've got here. So many books here. I wonder what this one. Whoa, what's this? Warm? Oh, oh, sorry. Oh no, I'm sorry. Hey, what's the deal with this sappy stuff? Small enclosure with 9 sides. There are 3 of these things that look like music stands. How about we try put... Oh, goody. Then... This is a little weird. There are 3 lights on this thing. They aren't very bright, though. Okay, put pop-up books on the top of the stands. You can sort of see the letters. It's too dark in here, really, to tell, though. Oh, that probably means our light isn't bright enough. Oh, I can read Sheldrake, and we do have a 5. I'm gonna guess Sheldrake 5, if it lets me. It's got a number written in the lower part of the spine. Astronomy. This bookshelf has a sort of glass inlay. It's pretty big, but there are only 6 books on it. That seems kinda weird. Hey, it looks like there's something on the bottom. I can't really see it though. The glass is all foggy. I'm not... Is that 6? No, that's 9. The ones are... Okay. It's like 1 to 6. Interesting code. Light the books. What am I missing? Lights to the books. That's not helpful. What's the deal with these titles? They're all just gibberish. Hey, what if we, like, switch them around? Switch them around? Yeah. If we move them around, maybe they'll spell something. Oh, I get it. Yeah, heck, it's worth a shot. Pino. That doesn't help. Lub. Oh. Open here, find bulb. Looks like putting the books there in the right order. Open this thing right up. Hey, that was a piece of cake. Hooray! You did it, Junpei. I guess that turned out quite well. So, the letters from the book spell out, open here, find bulb. Powerful light bulb, singular light bulb, but it's powerful. There are 3 lights in this thing. They aren't very bright though. Hey, didn't we find some kind of really powerful light bulb earlier? Why don't you put it into one of those lights? Yeah. Well, it'll be a lot brighter, but if there are 3 lights, that means 3 light bulbs. There won't be much point unless we can replace all 3 bulbs. We need 3 light bulbs. You're joking. You're joking. You had to die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What a coincidence. Okay, this book says dead kind. Liberties. Light blue, red, yellow, blue, pink. That doesn't help. It says Riemann hypothesis. What is there to hypothesize about a Riemann? Isn't it pretty straightforward? Heavens no. There are many factors. Whoa! Riemann hypothesis. I don't... Algebraic number theory. Math, huh? There's another one like that over here. You mean something like primary number theory, or analytic number theory, or geometry? Oh my god! Oh my gosh, how did you know? Nobody said anything about those. Well, number theory is usually split into 4 chief disciplines. Well, if there was a book named Algebraic Number Theory, I took a wild guess that the other 3 would be there as well. Looks like I was right. Goldbox conjecture. Conjecture? What is that? Like magic or psychic stuff or something? Right, I bet it's about jewelry, isn't it? May have an odd title, but it is actually a very respectable mathematics book. It deals with one of the unsolved problems of additive number theory. Sorry I said anything. Look, let's not get into this right now, okay? Is there anything I could possibly have missed? Oh, that's probably where we're going after this, huh? No, it's a door. Trust me on this. Remove books here and all sorts of languages. Something suspicious about this. You mean this shelf on the left? Don't be... Did I really? 632415. You know, the kind of lock where you rotate the numbers until you get the right one to open it. What is this? It's like they just gave us the answer. I forgot already. 2, 6, 2, 1, 4, 5, 3. Six three two four one five 632-415 632 632-415. You did it, Junpei! Yay! I don't know why, but I don't really feel particularly happy about being praised for that. Whatever. At least the lock's open now. Let's see if we can get it open alright. Light bulb. All 6 books seem to be pointing at the Sillinger number lock. Nothing else I can. Bunch of different books on folklore and myth here. I looked at that. That one looked interesting. Origin of Japanese folklore. There's a bunch of books about Japanese culture here. Mostly ones about folklore though. Well, folklore can cover a wide range of subjects. Ask an anthropologist near you. History, urban life, religious trends, environmental changes, oral tradition. Folklore can cover all of those things if you know where to look. This looks pretty deep. Ladder. Ladder? Ladder indeed. Overview of photochemistry. I think whoever set this up wants us to see the cover, not the spine. Let's look at it, okay? Look, Junpei. I think there's something hidden over there behind the books. In a random spot like you didn't expect because, my goodness. Foundation of DNA and genetic engineering. So many books look like you should click on them, and most of them you don't need to click on. Automated robot assembly line techniques. What's that? Some kind of comic book? Jeez, I guess boys really like that stuff, huh? No, you're thinking of a different sort of robot. Astro Boy, I believe he was called. This book is talking about automated machinery that's used to build things like cars. Alright, so there are 3 lights in here. I'm gonna change these bulbs. Now they should say Sheldrake 5. Awesome! It worked! Way to go, Junpei! Good job, buddy. There's something projecting on the bottom. There's something projecting on the bottom. These letters, they seem familiar. It says Sheldrake's 5 on the spine of this book. It's got a volume number written in low. Wait, what? Are you joking? Did I need to look at it?
Sheldrake 5?
I think I saw the rest of this collection somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around here.
Let's go take a look.
Okay.
Sheldrake.
Have you heard of him? Sheldrake, I mean.
Yeah, Lotus told me about him.
There's a British biochemist named Sheldrake. He has a rather interesting theory. Morphogenetic fields, which relies on the theory of morphic resonance.
The plot thickens.
Really? From Lotus, huh?
Well, Clover also said something to me about that stuff.
She did?
Yeah, what was it?
The ability to access a morphogenetic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger.
That girl. I told her not to tell anyone.
You did? Why?
Well,
Look, man, I didn't push it because we're in a hurry, but I'm kind of sick of this. How about you just tell me, okay?
tell you what?
Don't give me that. About the experiment.
Ugh. Very well, fine. I'll tell you everything. But not here. Let's move to the top floor.
Ah, yeah.
I suppose I might as well start by telling you why I kept quiet, and why I made sure Clover did as well. To be honest, the explanation is quite simple. Zero told me not to. I had little choice. He didn't walk up and tell me, of course. He gave me a message engraved on a card.
That's a Braille card. It looks just like the one you showed us earlier.
It is the one I showed you earlier.
So you had 2 cards.
No, it is the one I told.
No, only one.
Huh? What do you mean? I thought that card just had some rules for the nonary game on it.
Yes, it did. And those were the rules I read you. However, they were not the only thing on the card. There was something I didn't read. Well, perhaps I should say, there was something I couldn't read.
What? Oh, no. Not couldn't as in impossible, but couldn't like, that's a bad idea.
And that was?
Tell no one of the events that took place 9 years ago. Tell, and I activate your sister's detonator. It's a threat on our lives.
Oh. Well, what about Clover? Did she get a message from Zero too?
I don't believe she did. But doesn't it strike you as strange that Zero would shut my mouth, but not hers?
Yeah.
To be on the safe side, however, I told her it was best not to tell anyone. Still, apparently she told you. That girl.
What's wrong with her telling me? I figured some stuff out with the things she told me. I mean, it looks like the whole activate her detonator thing was just a bluff. She's prancing around downstairs happy as a clam now that you're back.
That's very true. I've decided I can trust you. I've decided to tell you the truth. The chance that Santa is Zero is very high. I feel I can assume Santa doesn't have the time to observe us at the moment. And at any rate, even if he were, I very much doubt he would kill us.
Why?
Clover told me about the 4-leaf clover, about the words. If he knew about that, then he was in my group during the first experiment. I'm sure of it. He wouldn't kill us, no matter what the situation was.
Hey, Snake?
Yes, I know. You want to know what happened during the experiment.
Yeah.
How much do you know?
Clover told me about...
I see. The morphogenetic field in the experiments 9 years prior. How the experiments had taken place simultaneously at 2 locations, one being the ship and the other being a building in Nevada.
It's always in Nevada, I swear.
And the girl that died during the experiment. She told you all that, did she? At any rate, I now know how much you've learned. All that remains for us to determine...
is who did this and why, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me what happened?
Yes. The people who organized the initial experiment were from a company called Cradle Pharmaceuticals. There were 4 of them running the show. Gentaro Hongo, Nagisa Nijisaki, Teruaki Kubota, Kagechika Musashido. Hongo was the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceuticals. Nijisaki was his right-hand man and did the lion's share of the planning. Kubota led the company's research and development division. Musashido was their majority stockholder. It was these 4 people who planned the initial experiment. Let me simplify it for you. Hongo designed it, and Nijisaki put it all together.
I don't remember who Nijisaki is.
Kubota developed the technology required, and Musashido provided the cash.
Okay.
Huh, so it's Hongo, Nijisaki, Kubota, Musashido.
Of course, more than 4 people were required to conduct an experiment of this scale.
Of course.
To that end, they organized a top-secret team to assist them with their research. All in all, they gathered 10 people or so. Those 10 completed their team, and they were able to begin the project. They named it the Nonori Project. The purpose of the experiment was to research the prospect of controlling a human mind through sheer will. The vessel, I suppose you could say, for this control was the morphogenetic field.
Huh.
Why did the glycerin suddenly begin to crystallize? Why did the crystal structure of EDT undergo a sudden change? Why did the rats improve their puzzle-solving skills with each generation?
At least that one isn't in this timeline.
Experiments with humans produce the same results. The more people who knew the answer to a question, the more there were who could answer correctly without having seen the problem before. Why is that? How could it happen? The answer is that the shape of the answer has been stored in a field invisible to the naked eye. And through that field, the resonant event transmits information related to that answer.
A resonant event.
That's essentially the idea behind morphogenetic fields.
But that's just a theory.
Game theory.
Can't bring yourself to believe it?
Yeah.
Let's say someone killed another person because the devil told them to do it.
Oh my goodness.
Whether the devil exists or not has no relevance to the murder. They believe the devil exists. Whether or not he does is immaterial.
So what matters here is that Hongo believed in the morphogenetic field.
That's right.
But I still don't get it. You said they wanted to figure out how to control people, right? That is what you were saying.
Yep.
Yes.
So how are they going to do that with a morphogenetic field?
I'll keep it simple. Let's suppose 10,000 people have solved a certain problem. The chance of you knowing that answer, even if no one has told you, will go up. Let's have another example, shall we? Say 1 million people were to do a handstand right now. Tomorrow, the chances of you doing a handstand would be higher, even if you had heard nothing of this hypothetical mass handstanding. Mankind's thought process and actions are all part of a resonant event. All of the resonant events encoded in the fields are projected onto you. Of course, this assumes you believe in this theory. Do you follow so far?
Yeah.
Now, if there was a person who had the same effect as those millions of people, what would happen? If that one person were to do a handstand, other people would find themselves wanting to do handstands as well. Can you imagine what a person with powers like that would be able to do?
Oh.
Come on, there's no way.
I'm not done. Imagine another scenario. Imagine another person. This is an ordinary person. Let's say he does a handstand. What if there was someone who could grab the resonant event he created by doing that and use it to make other people do handstands? What would happen then? A person who has the power to write to the field, and someone who can read from the same. You could think of them as the writer and the reader, or the transmitter and the receiver.
Wireless monitors.
What would the world be like if there were people with abilities like these?
So the transmitter's resonant event can be transmitted through the field and sent to the receiver. And then the transmitter can control the receiver however they wish. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes. Close enough, at least.
Come on, that's just crazy.
Well, if you want to prove that, then you'll have to test it first. At least, that was how they thought. That was why they decided to do their experiment. That was how the Nonori Project began. By the way, Junpei, have you ever heard of the Gansfeld experiment?
Yeah, that was an experiment in telepathy, right? You place a pair of subjects in separate rooms. Then you show one a picture and ask the other what they see.
Interesting. I'm impressed. Yes, that is exactly correct.
So, why did you bring up the Gansfeld experiment?
It was used to screen subjects for the Nonary Project. The hospital in a remote town was affiliated with Cradle Pharmaceuticals. Hongo used it to conduct experiments on visiting children in secret. Some of them, he found, had potential. He began to gather children that showed promise. Children that seemed as though they might be able to access the field. Of course, none of them volunteered. They were kidnapped. There were 9 pairs of siblings taken, for 18 children total. For reasons that were not fully understood at the time, each pair had 1 transmitter and 1 receiver. They were split perfectly. As such, the 18 children were split into 2 groups of 9. The children who were put into Group Q were the ones who excelled at transmitting. They were transferred to the mock experiment building known as Building Q in the Nevada desert.
Clover is the transmitter?
The children who excelled at receiving were put in Group A.
And that means that Santa and his sister. Is he the black Santa or the white Santa? What happened to his sister that he's receiving from?
Group A was then placed on the former hospital ship Gigantic. From the experiments he had conducted so far, Hongo had learned the following. There are 2 things that can increase one's resonance with the fields. The first is epiphany. The other is danger.
You can't control having an epiphany, though.
Have you ever been faced with an especially difficult problem and thought about it very long and very hard until finally an answer suddenly appeared in your mind? It may seem obvious to say so, but that is what is meant by epiphany. The information obtained through that epiphany can be easily transmitted through the fields, where it can be easily interpreted. Adding danger to that equation allows for even easier field access. That's where Hongo came in. They set up a number of puzzles across the Gigantic. The participants had to solve each one before they could move to the next room. Of course, he hadn't forgotten to include danger. He had detonated a bomb on the hull of the Gigantic. The children in Group A were forced to play the Nonary game as the ship sunk. By forcing the children into a life-or-death situation, Hongo hoped to increase the likelihood of their tapping into the fields. The children from Group Q, on the other hand, were confined to the mock experiment building, Building Q. Building Q duplicated the interior and puzzles of the Gigantic exactly.
We might not even be on the ship. Great.
Every detail was exactly the same. Hongo explained the situation to the children in Group Q. Solve the puzzles you find throughout the rooms. When you have the answers, transmit that information to the children in Group A. If you succeed, they will be able to solve the puzzles and escape. But if you fail, then the Gigantic will sink, and your brothers and sisters will drown. Those were his orders. Do you know why the astronauts of Apollo 13 were able to return to Earth safely?
No. Please tell me.
It was because NASA had access to a replica of the Apollo 13 capsule. All of the equipment, the instruments, everything. All of it identical. Everything was just like the real Apollo 13. NASA was able to replicate the situation the astronauts found themselves in. By putting themselves in the same situation, they attempted to solve the problems the astronauts were dealing with. Once they found solutions, they reported their findings to the men aboard the actual capsule. That was how they were able to return safely. It was the same with the Gigantic and Building Q. The children from Group Q had to use the power of epiphany to solve the puzzles they found and transmit what they learned through the fields. The children in Group A, however, they had to access the fields to learn how they might advance to the next stage. That is the simplest explanation I can manage.
Huh. Hey, Junpei, Snake! How much longer are you two gonna sit around on those bony asses? Get down here already!
He's right. Let's go, shall we? We don't have much time. We need to get out of here, and soon.
Hold it. There's one more thing I want to ask you.
Hmm?
Are you sure that there were 18 kids?
Why?
Well, I thought it was only 16.
Oh, yes. That was what they said on the news, wasn't it? Yes, I have no doubt that 18 children were abducted and used in Hongo's experiment.
Junpei. You're remembering things from other timelines, Junpei.
After all, you couldn't exactly play a nonary game with any less, could you?
Well, yeah, but are you saying that the news got it wrong?
Yes, I am. There were 2 more children. However, they had no relatives that I'm aware of. I imagine no one filed a police report when they went missing. They were brother and sister, like Clover and I. The brother's name was Aoi. The sister's name was... Her name was Akane.
Oh.
That was the girl who died.
Akane Kurashiki died? 9 years ago? Then, who is June? No. That's impossible. It can't be true. Akane isn't that uncommon of a name.
True.
If Snake had known her last name, that's a different matter entirely. So they share a name. A lot of other people do too. It doesn't mean anything. It was someone else. Of course it was. It has to be.
Is something wrong, Junpei? Your breathing sounds strange.
Oh, no, it's nothing. I'm fine. Let's get back down there, all right? I couldn't do it. Why didn't I ask? What's her last name? I just couldn't get the words to come out.
This is probably a terrible time to stop, but stop we shall. And in the next episode, we'll find All Ice and maybe get out of here. Who knows? So until then, don't forget to subscribe or whatever. And thank you all for watching. Bye.